They helped the Hopi survive. The Hopi called them the Anu. So remember the name I gave them. We'll go back to that for the negative types. It's not Anu. It's a lot longer. The Earth original types still have a matriarchal society with a queen that is benevolent and administrates the people. But other than this, they long ago stopped having a class structured society. Class structure is usually a sign of a negative group. They have two sexes and lay eggs that both male and females protect and help raise. Males and females are equal in stature and place in the society. However, the alien negative groups and agenda types, which the Hopi call Toko Anu, are not from this earth and are quite different. So these are renditions of the Toko Anu. The non-terrestrial types are not only different in behavior, unlike those from Earth that help humanity. They are self-servicing and harvest humans and are quite different in appearance. The Anu, the Earth ant people, are either white or black and get to 4 feet in height and have thin bodies. Like I said, the Hopi say this is because of the near starvation that happened during the time they shared the food with the Hopi, their food. The negative non-terrestrial types are red or brown, or mixtures of those two colors, and get up to 8 feet in height. They have a queen that rules them and have a highly rigid class structure that is absolutely enforced and adhered to. They actually will destroy and pull apart a being that steps out of line. It is a society in which the male drones are relegated to slavery and destruction when no longer useful to the females, eaten alive or torn up in brutal games and then fed to the larvae. The females get up to 8 feet tall, and all females have wings. Males are never over 5 feet in stature, never have wings, and are always grayish in color. The females lay the eggs and occupy all areas of society other than those that are extremely hazardous or menial labor type positions. These positions are for the males. The primary positions in their societies are royalty. Those that are bred to lead and become the next queen or guard the queen. The military, these are the largeness. Sometimes they can actually get up to 10 feet in stature and have been seen. Additionally, they have highly toxic acidic bites and massively powerful bodies and mandibles. Then they have the scientist class, which are usually smaller in stature with larger heads. The next class is administrators and others. The entire species is still at third density. In war, the attacks of the Toko Anu are one of numbers. They attack by throwing massive numbers of ships and assets and warriors, etc., and they wear down and defeat their enemies through attrition and eventual defeat. So they don't care about sacrificing their kind. They just throw massive numbers of ships and anything until they just wear the enemy out and overwhelm them, like you see with ant colonies doing the same thing. The loss of life of members is of no consequence because a member's life is not valued. They only value the whole, not an individual. So it's no consequence other than the royalty. The royalty, that's not true. So the queen and the successors for the queen are valued individually, but below that level of society, they don't care at all. This species is responsible for several large dune areas on Earth. These dunes are actually not accumulated by winds, but are instead the results of the debris removed by the Toko Anu when they make their tunnels and caverns. The most well-known of these dune areas is attributed to winds, but is actually created by the Toko Anu, is the Great Sand Dunes in Colorado. These dunes are up against the Sangre, Cristo mountain range in the San Luis Valley. The valley is bordered by high mountain ranges on all sides. And so this is in southern Colorado. It's in Highway 285, runs through it. And there's a pass you can see here, La Vida Pass, where it goes over and comes down in just south of the Great Sand Dunes area. So if you come in and then you take Road 150 up, you can go into the Great Sand Dunes. And you can see there's really nowhere if the winds were blowing and carrying sand, it would drop it over here if it was this way, or over here if it was this way, up over there. Down. I mean, it can't be coming in from winds. I mean, if it was this direction, it'd be dropped somewhere in here because they have to rise. They're going to, just like with snowfall, it drops the snow. Snow is lighter than sand. It's going to drop sand before it gets in here. Sand taken from tunneling underneath, especially Mount Blanca, which was a huge, huge dome they created, and the Anunnaki and the Mantids and the Toko Anu inhabited that for thousands, tens of hundreds of thousands of years. And it's only recently they finally got that completely cleaned up. The Alliance cleaned it up and they've completely taken that over. And this is all, but so all the sands of the Great Sand Dunes is from all the tunneling work they did. So again, here's the Great Sand Dunes on a map. You can see the various locations, the pass that comes over La Veta, that comes over from Walsenburg and Highway I-25. It's unexplained phenomena. Sometimes they say it's unexplained. It's not unexplained anymore. And again, you can see here's an ancient Moor map. It's completely rigged. It's actually what that valley, the San Luis Valley is one of the largest supervolcanoes in the world. Its last eruption was 650,000 years ago, and the dust ash cloud created by that eruption created the entire Elk Mountain range in southwest Colorado. I've actually hiked in there, and there's huge, huge cliffs that are just nothing but volcanic ash, as you can see here. There's a trail that I did that runs right along the edge. It gets a little hairy in this area because you're right up, and it's really crumbly. And I was backpacking and carrying 90 pounds, so it's good. And I actually saw two goats right here, and they ran. I was like, something's crumbling, falling, ran down here. I'm like, they're gonna die. I scared them. Oh no, I'm gonna cause their death. And they ran down. There's no problem. I was like, wow, I wish I could do that. That was pretty impressive. And so the trail actually goes like this, goes around this, it comes back up because this gets too crumbly to even go over because it gets snow and it's all wet and mushy. So the West Elk Mountain Range in Colorado is thousands of feet of compressed ash. They ran down. I was like, that was impressive. So again, you can see, and the trail actually goes right along this, and all of this is just compressed ash. As you can see, it's all crumbly, and it's a massive. Here's the San Luis Valley by satellite. Again, even down here, if you're saying it's coming up here, this has got mountains down here, down into New Mexico. It's completely ringed. It's a volcanic crater. Dormant at this time. On the eastern edge of the San Luis Valleys is the Sangre Cristo Range. The dunes are up against the southern part. So the Sangre Cristo Range is some of the roughest mountains and hardest 14,000 foot peaks in Colorado to climb. Been partway up Blanca, and then there's Sangre Cristo Peak and many of the other peaks that are in there, or I've climbed, but they're really, really tough to get up in there. There's a beautiful trail that runs along up and goes over and over passes. It's 28 miles long. So there's another beautiful picture of this incredible mountain range that's one edge of this cauldron. On the west side of the San Luis Valley is the San Juan mountain range. Sangre Cristo means the blood of Christ, by the way. This range is so vast it fills much of western Colorado. It's divided into smaller sub-ranges. Those that border the San Luis Valley are the southern San Juans. The south end of the valley is the La Garita, which means, I believe, the La Garita mountain range. The eastern western edge of the valley. So you can see these different mountain ranges and the main peaks here. This is the eastern slope of that cauldron rim. The western side of that cauldron rim. This is the eastern slope of the La Garita mountain range in the San Juans. And so that's looking at it from, again, the valley floor. This is actually, I take it near 285 again, right off 285. You're looking at the La Garita Mountains. And here's more about, you can see more of that compressed ash in the La Garita western slope as well. So really obvious. And this is more showing the maps. If you go to that link, and you can see pictures of the mountain range like this. On the southern end. So, I mean, the sand is going to blow over this. That's really high, as you can see. This is a nice fall picture of the southern end of San Luis Valley, which is the southern band of the San Juan Range. A southern San Juans is seen from the mid-southern edge of San Luis Valley. And now this, I believe, is taken in, my mind just went, I can't pull it out. Where you come over La Veta Pass, there's a big city there's fairly big. I can't remember now. So here's the sand dunes. As you can see, the Great Sand Dunes are the tallest dunes in North America. And these are getting, they're not being blown anymore. The winds still blow, but they're not moving. How did they get blown in there if they're not moving? When the winds get whipping in the winter, you get blizzards in this place that are pretty massive winds. You can see grass starting to grow on it. And more, you can go look at more maps and things here, the southern dunes. This is the side where there's a river coming down the valley, and you can see grass starting to grow and vegetation. The Great Sand Dunes, the tallest sand dunes deposited by wind. Why is there overgrowth starting? So let me see if we pull up what that has. I'll just pull it up. Yeah, Great Sand Dunes animation showing the dune field formation from their supposed, that's a supposed way they're going to say, oh, here's the wind blowing it in. Yeah, it's blowing it over the mountains. Sure it is. It doesn't drop it there, it drops it here. Okay. Yeah, right. So, you don't want us to know. Oh, I see you're not seeing that. Let me share that. So let me go and pull that up so people can see. They're doing it. They're saying that animation showing dune field formation, that it's blowing over the mountains, like they're saying here, blowing over the La Garita and San Juan mountains. By the way, that La Garita San Juan range, you go across that, there are mountains for over 100 miles, and 14, many, you have the Collegiate Range, which is a massive range of 14,000 foot peak, all of them named after colleges, most of them climb, which is Lincoln, Harvard, Democrat, Ross. I mean, it's Yale, Princeton. They're huge peaks. They're massive, fortifications essentially that are just incredibly massive and high. And they're saying, yeah, this got blown. I don't buy it. Thank you. Oh, it's that dumb. So we'll go back to the document. So it's really good to go to the links because they have some really interesting things to say. So you can learn how they try to debunk things with, if you're using some common sense, it doesn't make any sense. The winds quit blowing that hard. Is that what you're saying? They blow 80 miles an hour sometimes in the winter. I was like, they don't blow that hard anymore, huh? Okay. So it blows, you can see the sand being brought out from holes. Here it is. They're bringing it out and dropping it. It's coming out from right here. This is some of the holes where they're digging underneath. This is the main, when you have an ant hive, they have a main exit and entrance. That's their entrance. They come out there and drop the sand. It's really obvious. I'm like, oh, yeah, it's just coming along there. I see. Really easy. So there's a person walking on the sand dunes. You can see how massive they are. You can see vegetation even in the middle. Vegetation starting to grow. It's a beautiful area, though. Sunsets there can get spectacular. Here's the fall. Look at all the vegetation. It's nice to see the fall colors and the winter starting to set in at the high altitudes above timberline. And then you can see now that really the light, it really accents the growth that's beginning. So here's what the Toku Anu look like. Quite a bit different. So the ant positives, here's there. The females are a bit bigger sometimes. The queens are more white. The males are black, but the males are often as tall as some of the whites that aren't selected to be the queen. Their wings are very iridescent and beautiful, like dragonflies. The negatives are very different. They're red for the queen, and then the warrior class, and then the males are very small and black.